2008 NFL Draft, first round, 2 quarterbacks selected. Matt Ryan and Joe Flacco. Both quarterbacks have never had a losing record since they've been in the league. But which quarterback is better? Who you take, Big J?
Man, when they were drafted, I came out to the chagrin of a lot of Falcon fans, and I straight up said I think that Flacco would have had the better career. Now, looking at it like toe-to-toe with him, I think I'm proving right now. One's the Super Bowl, one's sitting at home. What you think, Reese?
I agree. Got more playoffs wins. Matt Ryan just got one. It's simple as that. So
I don't know if it's as simple as that. One has a defense, and one is still trying to discover a defense. Matt Ryan definitely has a better receiving core, better during the regular season, at least this year. Flacco's been to the postseason and won now. I mean, you're gonna have to give the edge to Flacco, but I don't think this script is nearly through being written.
I mean, the way I see it, it's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan was brought to a team that was in disarray. I mean, the coach quit on them. Quarterback got locked up. He came in. He was, as Deion Sanders would say, he gave them hope. He had to change the whole culture of the whole team. So with Matt Ryan coming there, straight off the bat, first season there, he won 11 games. And right there showed everybody that they could believe in him and he can be that guy. With Joe Flacco, with him even going to the Ravens, you still had Ray Lewis there. You still had Ed Reed. You had strong leaders there, especially from the defensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. So he got his chance to struggle. And, yeah, they won their games and made the playoffs, but it was for more about the whole overall of the team than just what Joe Flacco was doing, which is why I say Matt Ryan's a better quarterback.
Okay, but can you trust him in a playoff game?
Well, that's a whole other discussion because when you get to the playoffs, quarterbacks have to make certain throws, but there's a lot of games that the Ravens' defense helped them. Look at Flacco's numbers against the Patriots when they won in Foxborough.
3 and 10.
It was like 3 for 10, and Ray Rice, first play of the game, took a carry, 83 yards. So Matt Ryan, a lot of everything has been on this table. He's got a running back that ain't as good as Ray Rice, Michael Turner, dear me. And he had to pretty much put the team on his back and try to win the game. And Matt Ryan, to me, even though he is kind of suspect in the playoffs, especially in pressure situations, but overall, I think this guy has a chance to at least win a Super Bowl of his own, even if Flacco wins one this year.
See, I guess why I differ on that is a small reasons. Okay, yeah, you're right. Matt Ryan did re-energize the organization that was re-energizing itself. It wasn't like the organization was just terrible and Matt Ryan came and had to suffer like 2 years like Troy Aikman did when the Cowboys were terrible. Even Joe Montana, when he came to the Niners, they both had losing seasons that first 1 or 2 years. And then they kind of built up from there. The Falcons were putting pieces in there. They drafted Roddy White, who was a rookie during the Vic era, that was there. They went out and got Michael Turner for him. And say what you want to say now, but at the time when they first got Michael Turner, he was the offense. Matt Ryan was just a substitute. They were Ben Roethlisberger and Matt Ryan at the beginning.
How bad was Roddy when he first got there? He was dropping everything in the side.
Oh, well, that's because Michael Vick was throwing the ball and Chris Bretman. Yeah, we know that. I mean, what great receiver did Michael Vick ever throw the ball to was Algie Crumpler because he had stone hands. So, I mean, like, let's be real. So, when I look at the whole Falcon thing situation, they were breeding this franchise around Matt Ryan. Joe Flacco on the other issue, the team was already in place. They needed another quarterback to come in and keep the progress going. So you drafted 2 guys for 2 different reasons. But if we're looking at why I think Flacco's better than the other, if Matt Ryan's supposed to be the savior, he's just as much the detriment to being the savior as he is being the savior. Where Joe Flacco was brought in just to be the guy to keep the train running, he's done that. They win playoff games. They stay competitive. Every regular season when you're about to count the Ravens out, he shows up. And let's not, your beginning games, you're absolutely correct. He was god-awful, and so was Matt Ryan in beginning games. But let's talk about now. The last 2 playoff years, he's been playing better than he's outplayed Tom Brady almost 3 times now. I mean, he's playing on another level than most quarterbacks. I mean, even when I looked at the numbers this year, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions, that's Troy Aikman and Joe Montana playoff numbers with no mistakes. So, and I look at the Matt Ryan thing, is Matt Ryan asked to do more? Absolutely. But is that Flacco's fault that he's asked just to do his job and be successful at it?
It's easy to complete passes when it seems like you're playing 7-on-7. What I'm saying by that is no pressure. If you're standing back there in the pocket and he's played teams with so-called pass rushers and he's not getting touched. Dumerville and Von Miller did nothing. Chandler Jones did nothing. First game, Freeney and Mathis did nothing. So Flacco back there just chilling. From what I see. Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, you're right, but you're making like it's Joe Flacco fault that he ain't getting punched in the mouth.
Well, also, they've developed different ways.
We got a better receiving core at that.
Oh, it's the Falcons.
I mean, you got to throw that in the fact, too, now. I mean, Flacco was still winning ball games.
Yeah. Torrey Smith ain't going to burn Chandler every game.
Well, they're also developing different ways. I mean, I put them in the same category as where they are, but they develop different ways. You take Flacco, who came in and it's like, just don't screw up, and then it became just manage the game. And now he's being asked to make passes. So he is developing and asking to do more, and he's about to get that contract. If he wins the Super Bowl, it's going to be mega. All right, that's one thing. Matt Ryan, same situation, about to get a contract. But he's been asked to consistently make plays. Luckily for him, he has receivers who can catch. It's just the rest of the team around him doesn't seem to keep up with that. I mean, he had those 3 years, Michael Turner just carried the team. Because really, for 3 years, Michael Turner had the most carries of any running back there was.
Yeah.
And he carried the team. And that was the time Matt Ryan was coming up. Now it's Matt Ryan's time. Just on the other side is Flacco's. It's time to come and show up. And he's had a lot of miracle plays. He had a lot of dumbass luck plays this year. I mean, come on, be real. I mean, yes, they had a sorry schedule. Yes, they won a lot of games. But, man, how many of those? He's like, going to stop covering the last 30 seconds? You know, give this guy a wide open shot at the 50-yard line for a field goal. How many games did they win just by being at the end of a game? But he made the play, and he made the play each time.
I mean, I can't take that away from Matt Ryan, man. I mean, Matt Ryan's clutch, especially in the regular season. We can't knock that. We can't take that away. I guess for me, my whole thing is, I mean, and I liken it to when I talk about Joe Montana, and everybody loves Joe Montana. Everybody says he's the greatest, and me and Ray debated like this argument I've had all the time about Ray like that. I look at it like the Joe Montana and the Dan Marino situation. Who got the numbers? Marino by far. But who got the wins and the rings? Montana. But who do we consider the greatest?
Jerry Rice.
Well, unless you're Randy Moss, then that's an argument. But we say Montana. Why? Because of the wins, the rings, the big plays and big games. And we say Dan Marino is maybe the third best. Why? Because he never had really that defining playoff moment where we were like, oh, wow, Dan's arrived and he's here. He just came out the box. Dan came out the box elite. So I look at I'm not saying that Flacco's Joe Montana. I'm not saying Matt Ryan is Dan Marino, but the comparison is the numbers versus the wins. And I look at Flacco, the wins speak for themselves, because you can argue that Montana had a way better team than Marino's teams were. But we don't take that away from Joe Montana, but we take it away from Flacco because he came to a team that was better suited. I mean, it's not Flacco's point. He got drafted there. He's done what he had to deal with.
So is this more like the new version of Peyton versus Tom Brady? Where we got
make that argument, yeah,
because of the lack of playoff success with Matt Ryan, with how Peyton Manning started out, and it seemed like Flacco's winning, similar to how Tom Brady was.
Maybe that's really good. That's
maybe at a lower level. I can see the comparison, but not quite that escalated.
Well, only because the Brady was more of an underdog story who became successful, where Flacco came out the gate the way he was. But I mean, you can still make the argument because Peyton always had the numbers, Brady always had the wins, and we always contributed to Peyton not having the wins because his team wasn't as good or well-rounded as Brady's was. So I mean, we can make that argument. I mean, let's be real. We know John Harbaugh's a way better coach than Mike Smith at this point. I mean, because it's been yet to be watched a game where John Harbaugh's really blown it, and we've watched a game with Mike Smith. We looked at it and go, "What are you doing right now?" So, I mean, go ahead, Reese.
Would you still feel that way, Ray, if Flacco will win the Super Bowl?
That Matt Ryan is better? Mm-hmm. I mean, we've seen quarterbacks that win Super Bowls before and still felt like other ones were still better. I mean, Chet Dilfer got a ring. He's as hell.
Brad Johnson.
And when they even named Harbaugh?
What's up?
Isn't there a quarterback named Harbaugh who's not that great at quarterback but won a Super Bowl? Didn't Harbaugh win?
Nah, he won no Super Bowl.
He didn't win one?
But Harbaugh had some comeback wins, man. Don't hate on Harbaugh,
Wasn't he on
man.
the bench?
I'll fight you over my coach. But yeah, I mean, but I'm not knocking Matt Ryan, and I'll give respect to Matt Ryan, especially in the last two playoff games. Like, I don't feel like Matt Ryan was the reason why they lost.
That fumble?
Again, we didn't score any points off them. The Niners didn't score any points off that fumble. I don't think he was the reason why they lost. I think the reason why they lost is because they had glaring holes in other spots of the overall team that has never been addressed. Where I looked at Flacco, the Ravens have a lot of glaring holes, and we'll talk about that later on with our Super Bowl picks. But Flacco seemed a way to overcome those glaring holes and still keep his team in the game to win. I mean, let's be real. They had 2 special team touchdowns in Denver. Peyton only put up 21. 2 touchdowns from special teams. Flacco ain't got nothing to do with that. And he still found the way to keep trucking along and win. Now, I can say the same thing about Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan in that Seattle game might have helped change the tide with that pick late in the game. You know what I'm saying? It's little things that I think that in the playoffs that Flacco wouldn't do, that Ryan does do, that we can argue all day about who has the better team, but Matt Ryan's team is built around you, so you have to play at that performance where you don't make those mistakes, a la Tom Brady. That team's built around Brady. We talked about how that defense isn't great in New England, but they win. Why? Because Brady doesn't make those key moment mistakes, and when he does, the Ravens game, they get booted out. And I think Flacco has kind of, again, something with Flacco in playoffs, I don't know what it is. He turns into a whole other guy. I mean, there's a lot of Troy Aikman in him in that regard. Where Troy Aikman, once playoff came, was a totally different quarterback. He was good in the regular season and was great in the playoffs. Flacco is average in the regular season, but like he's amazing in the playoffs for some reason. So I don't know what this is, switch in his head, or maybe Ray Lewis gave him some of that antler spray. I don't know what the deal is, but something going on, and Flacco's a different quarterback.
Maybe he believe in God or something. I don't know.
What would Deion say, Ray?
He gives them hope.
Thank you all for listening again. And that's Matt versus Jones.
Sitting in your car, time flies past me, breaking you apart, with each piece. I just felt my heart.